Hey guys, I am Mont or Alex, and quite a number of you have asked me what I think about the Cursed trailer they released a few weeks ago for Dark Souls 2. So I thought this week I'd do a quick little analysis about it, and of course, me being me, a quick analysis means it'll probably last about 8 years. So here we have week 5 of our countdown to Dark Souls 2. Halfway there, only a few weeks to go. That said, let's get started, shall we? First things first, I'm not going to include the actual trailer in this video for copyright reasons, but you all know where to find it on YouTube, I would expect. Now, with that boring stuff out of the way, let's see what we can see. We begin with a narration somewhat akin to the Dark Souls intro. Is that the same voice? The same woman? I don't believe it is. And I believe this woman narrating is also the one shown near the end of the trailer and in this screenshot right here. Unrelated, but she reminds me a little of Elysian from Dragon's Dogma. What role is she going to play? Well, it appears we have an in-game cutscene. Could this be the beginning of the game? Does our hero arrive in this coastal town and meet with this possibly prophetic old crone? Indeed, is this coastal town our new Firelink Shrine, our new Nexus? Perhaps you've seen it, she muses, and is she speaking to us? Is this our introduction to her? Has our character dreamed of this land and been drawn here by the prospect of ending their undead curse? Long ago, in a walled-off land far to the north, a great king built a great kingdom. I believe they called it Drangleic. First time I watched that, I was positive she was going to say Anor Londo, weren't you? I mean, that shot of a city that looks so familiar. Just what is going on here? Now, if you've seen my Dark Souls 2 lore teaser video from a few months back, you'll remember I pronounced it Drangley. Well, turns out I was wrong. It was Drangleic. Either way, that sure sounds a lot like Anor Londo, doesn't it? Not Drangleic, but rather a walled-off city built by a great king. But no, I think not. The resemblance to Anor Londo must be intentional. But could it be referring to King Vendrick? And those dragons wheeling about those spires that reach dizzying heights? Could it be related to a certain piece of concept art from the Dark Souls design works? Are we going to be using dragons to damage the final boss? Bearer of the curse, seek misery. What does this mean? Well, we are likely the bearer of the curse, the undead curse, but seek misery? I don't think that has any relation to Gravelords who spread misery, but you never know. Till this frail hope shatters. Very typical Souls vernacular here. Your quest is futile, it tries to tell us. We'll find naught but death and misery before finally giving in and giving up. Lest this land swallow you whole. Further indication that Drangleic is not a land for the weak of body and mind, as it has so many others. After those dire words, we are treated to some lovely shots. For such a terrible land, Drangleic is quite beautiful. I know this is very random, but Souls sometimes reminds me of Gears of War in that both have, in my opinion, a common theme of destroyed beauty. We never see the kingdoms at the height of their power. We always see them when they've been destroyed and turned to ruin. First we see what might be a temple knight striding purposefully through some pillars in what might be an underground cavern. Bears a vague resemblance to New Londo in how we are treated to just a hint of light streaming in from above. And I must say, the new lighting engine really, well, shines, bad puns ahoy. The next shot though seems to be at dusk, not the character, in a wooded area, where nature has reclaimed what was once perhaps a castle or town. The character appears to be the same as in the previous shot, and it looks like it's not a temple knight after all, but the new cloth physics are something I'm very excited about either way, and I'm glad they seem to be taking full advantage of that. Makes up for the Border Knight armour. Then we have the rather famous Souls door shot, as I call it. A tiny man pushing it against a door so vast, it only goes to show how formidable this land is, and how insignificant we are. Following that we have some fast action shots. A chap in the warrior starting set being set upon by what appears to be a hollow soldier. Then a common knight being harangued by a comfy mummy beast thing, which for some reason made me think of the Titanite demons. Then we have a character in a new set of armour being clubbed by the monstrous arms of some sort of cyclops creature with vicious fangs. Next is a quick shot of the lower bodies of 2 humans engaged in a duel, one of whom seems to be wearing a dark silvery suit of armor and wielding a katana. Is that a player, a boss, or a normal enemy? After that comes a shot of a hunter being assailed by, well, it reminds me of a certain titan from SNK. The enemy has huge arms that will probably give it deceptively long range for its sweeping attacks. Next little shot is awesome. Confirms the brigand set is returning. It may have been confirmed earlier, I forget, as well as the hand axe. And there seems to be a lovely selection of axes to pick from, and I'm most pleased about that because I really like axes. The next clip is of a splendid looking character with a helm much like Leroy's, running through a dark interior, a double-bladed weapon clutched in his hand. After that we get a lovely shot of the beautiful new bonfire animation, as a crimson adventurer lights it up, and from there we get some decidedly more dramatic events. If you recall the original announcement trailer for Dark Souls 2, featuring a rather ash-ridden fire escape, that is, I believe, related to where this flame-lurking beast may reside. But what is this thing? A dragon? A demon? A dragon demon? What's more, it seems to be talking. Does this dialogue belong to that enemy? And just what is he saying? The mad will never be forgiven. I can't quite catch the first 2 words, but it sounds like mad. And by mad, does he mean hollow? And what does he mean by that? Is it a warning? Or a threat? Have hollows done something to this creature in the past? Or is he warning us, even if we lift the curse, the undead would remain ostracized? He also calls us a foolish human, which is just going to ensure that he gets a beating. He could be an important boss. The final one? No, I very much doubt that. And I very much doubt that they would give away the final boss in a trailer. Who is going to be the final boss? My money is on King Vendrick. Judging from Demon Souls King Alant and Dark Souls Gwyn. The curse is a part of life itself. What could that mean? The undead curse is pivotal in some way? It's important to the world? Is it a part of the world that cannot be removed? Following that, we hear a familiar voice. At least, the tone of it. We undead will never die, he seems to say, as horrific monsters, too disgusting to detail, writhe about in a mass of corpses. You'll go hollow instead, says another voice. Become one of them. Now that we can understand, we all know what going hollow means. But is that a challenge? If so, gladly accepted. A quick few shots follow this. Of note is the gesture that the blue phantom is making, along with the black phantom who wields the double-bladed sword. He attacks another black phantom who wields a shield with what appears to be a horse emblem on it. But what interested me most, even more than the moveset of that strange weapon, was the 4-pointed crown or helm the phantom appears to be wearing. Is that Gwyn's crown? It almost looks like Sauron's helm from Lord of the Rings movies. The next clip appears to be following on from the earlier one I mentioned with the duel taking place. Looks like that wanderer picked a bad fight. Next up, is that a royal sentinel? One of the Anor Londo giants outside the Ornstein in Smoke boss chamber? It certainly bears a resemblance with that immense shield and halberd. And then we see a certain avian beast carrying a human. Looks like our favourite taxi service returns. But is it really Velka? And speaking of Velka, just what role does the Emerald Herald play in all of this? And she, most certainly, is the new Maiden in Black, or the new Anastasia of Astora perhaps, maybe the new Priscilla. Next up, a stern voice informs us that we need the Abyss. Is this related to the line mentioning that the curse is a part of life itself? Maybe. I don't think that's Ingrid though, but you never know. As he speaks those mysterious words, we see a knight facing off against a red wyvern, whilst the magnificent towers of not Anor Londo rise in the distance. Could that be the main keep and castle of Drang Lake? The Iron Castle that's been mentioned here and there? Probably not. After all, doesn't seem all that iron to me. After that we have more action shots. Not much to note, other than that the thief is using the claw fist weapon. After that comes a very interesting shot. My first thought was Smo, because the manacled figure has a strange bronze or golden mask on, or so it seems to me. I don't think that is Smo, but it certainly made me think of him all the same. Your wings will burn in anguish, time after time, for that is your fate, the fate of the cursed. A mysterious and foreboding utterance ends our trailer as a brave soul leaps into an abyss, darkness swirling all about him. Is that symbolic? Metaphorical? Whose wings? Does it mean that every time we're near our goal we will fall and fail? Or does she mean it in a more literal sense? Are the wings of some great bird or dragon in danger of being torched? I mean, if it's the bridge Hellkite, then I'm all for that. More likely though, it's a warning to us that we are destined to fail, again and again. But if that is the narrator from Dark Souls 1, she should know better. Or should she? She claimed to know our fate then as now, but did we exceed that? Or did linking the fires or even becoming the Dark Lord only play into the hand that fate dealt us? And how will our second undead avatar prove against their curse? Only time will tell, and we'll all know in just a few more weeks.